I see the people who really have that in place, they can utilize their AI tools much more effectively. If you're confused, if you don't really know where you are, where you want to go, and how you would like to get there, that's a long way home, even with AI tools. Today, we will dive into this topic about AI and how to apply it in sales, and is it actually useful, or is it just a waste of time, or is it even ethical to use AI, or should we avoid it because it's stealing our jobs? I think those are some of the questions we will cover today. So dive in if you want to get a little inspiration about how you can improve your performance by combining your human intelligence with the artificial intelligence, the AI with the maybe even the emotional intelligence you're having. So let's see where this will bring us, and I hope you will take some great inspiration from this, which can actually help you increase the way you work with your customers in your day-to-day work. So how do I actually see that artificial intelligence, AI, and personal selling can connect? And I would say that in a lot of places, actually. Because again, you could say that the personal selling and the satisfaction selling method we are working from is actually, when you look at the core, very, very simple. But then when you start to add the different aspect of how you can pace another person by using their modalities, meaning that if you are working with a visual person, you should talk more in pictures. When you're working with an auditory person, you should more be talking using sounds. And when you're working with a kinesthetic person, you should, in a way, use more tactile and emotional words. It's again a very simple idea. And again, then you add the meta programs, whether a person is internal or external, sort by self or sort by others, matching or mismatching, motivated by moving away from or towards, sorting for sameness or difference. And then you add the value system of the customer, whether they are a grave value 4 person, 5, 6, 7, 8, or maybe even a 3. And then when you start to add these different layers of information into the interaction with another person, unless you are very skillful and have trained this for more than 20 years, it's very easy to lose track. I think this is where AI can start to help you in at least your written communication with your customers, to really communicate in a way which are more similar to the way the customer likes to communicate. But based on this idea that the more, in a way, you speak and sound like the customer, the more easy it will be for them to actually hear what you want to communicate to them. And there I find that you can actually apply AI to become more smooth in the way you interact with your customers. But that's an important thing, and that's what is it that have to be true about you before you even start to consider to apply AI and get value from it. Because I think at least today, November 2025, AI is not smart enough to do everything for you. And I think, again, you need to have a pretty clear intent in your mind about what you want to see happening before you can even consider to use AI in an effective way. And for me, it's not different from what I experienced back in the 90s, where I had a personal assistant helping me writing my faxes, my letters, my telexes, before the emails, before 96. And even in those days, if I was not really clear about what kind of message I wanted to send through the letters she was writing, she was left with no chance of really doing a good job for me. But as she started to really understand what I wanted and how I wanted it, the way we cooperated really improved dramatically. It's the same thing I see now with ChatGPT, is that it starts to actually get to know me, so that helps. But still, if I don't have a clear intent about what I want to accomplish, I'm not able to do a prompt that would deliver high quality results. So you need to understand your objectives, what you want to create, to make the AI work effectively for you. And this is what we call personal leadership on level 1 and 2. So this is really something you need to master. And I see the people who really have that in place, they can utilize their AI tools much more effectively. If you're confused, if you don't really know where you are, where you want to go, and how you would like to get there, that's a long way home, even with AI tools. Today, you could ask me, so Henrik, where do you see that I can really get the greatest impact from applying AI? And I don't know if I'm the right person to actually answer that question. I think there's people out there who know much more about AI than I do. But I can answer the question from my perspective, where I really get the most value from it. And that's really, it's helping me collect information. So before I even talk to a customer for the first time, it's easy for me to go in and ask AI, please do a 500-word resume on this company. Describe the market they're in. Describe how they what have been their go-to-market strategy over the last few years. How many people do they employ in the sales and marketing organizations? In which market do they sell direct, and in which markets do they go through distributors? So I can ask AI all of these questions. What revenue do they have, and how have that developed over the last 5 years? What is their EBITDA, and how is their profit? How have that developed over the last 5 years? And again, what is their short-term and long-term goal based on their annual reports for the last 2 to 3 years? What characterized the senior leadership team in that company? So I can ask all of these types of questions, which will help me understand the space I'm moving into when I actually have my first face-to-face meeting with them. So that's one area. It can help me really prepare better. I could even also help it refine some of the framing I will use for setting up the meeting, maybe even help me prepare some really high quality open questions I could bring into that meeting, which will support me in getting my outcome. So that's also a very important point. Then after the meeting, I would be able, if I had got the permission from the customer to transcribe the meeting, to even help the AI do my meeting notes, maybe even use AI to do a follow-up letter to the customer, stating who will do that, what will be the next step. It could also help me maybe even recommend what would be the next good steps to take to really move this project further. And I could also ask it to help me profile the customer in terms of which meta programs, which modalities, which value system do this customer tend to show during the meeting I have with them. So I think there's a lot of things you can even do after you have had the meeting. And it could also help you draft a nice follow-up email to the customer that would motivate that customer to take the next step with you. And maybe it could even help you create the notes for your CRM system. So I think if you add all of this together, it can really help you save a lot of time. And then finally, when you have gathered enough information and you're ready to draft a proposal for the customer, I see that you can save a lot of time using AI helping you drafting an optimal proposal that would actually fit the customer's desires and criteria, and even design it so that you speak in the customer language, because it will be able to copy that from the transcript you have developed or have created in the meetings with the customer. So these are just some of the examples I use it for daily. And again, I don't know how much time I'm saving. I'm surely saving hours every day. But I would also say that the quality of my communication have increased. Because, before AI, I had to ask some of my colleagues in my teams to proofread important emails and offers. And sometimes that would take days, maybe even weeks. Today, I can do that all by myself within minutes, maybe hours at maximum. So quotation that in the old days took me maybe 1-2 weeks to develop, I can now do in less than a day. The question which often come up when we talk about AI is that, but it doesn't sound like me, and this is not authentic. And I would say that, yeah, that's true. Sometimes I allow myself to send things which are not totally sounding like me. And to be honest with you, I actually don't care. Because back in the 90s, when I had a personal assistant working for me full time, trust me, everything she sent out with my name under didn't look like anything I would have been able to produce. It was much better. And that was actually the purpose of having an assistant, a secretary, was to make sure that people like me, who is not the greatest speller in the world, who is not really totally skillful in putting slick sentences together, could actually communicate in a professional way with my customers. So I think, again, when it comes to this authentic criteria, get over it and move on. I think some of you out there have a better position not sounding like yourself, but actually sounding like a sane, normal person that are able to communicate clearly with your clients. And I think that's actually better than being authentic. I think, again, when you use AI, don't make it look like you are better than you actually are. But just say that I'm using technology to create the best possible outcome. And the purpose here is to make sure that your customers are getting some documentation, some written material that is easy for them to read and digest. So in a way, so that you take out the friction in the interaction between you and them. I think also what I have seen is that today I'm much more capable of sending a short email, reconfirming things we have talked about, even in a brief telephone conversation, because I can do it in a few minutes simply by dictating into my AI, have it type it out, and then send it. And I think actually the better I am at communicating clearly with my customers, the more value customers getting from interacting with me. And I think that's at least what's important to me. Very, very often still when I'm out running trainings around the world, I'm surprised that so many people haven't started using any form of AI yet. And then they ask me, but when should I start? And then I only have to say yesterday or last year. Because I think using AI also demands some kind of skills. So you need to improve and learn how to do optimal prompts. And the only way to learn is to do it. Learning by doing. You cannot become perfect at using AI before you have used AI for months and months. So, and the more you wait, the more you will be left behind. Because I can promise you that there's already salespeople out there using it every day, every minute. And if you want to stay on board, if you would like to still be in this profession in the next few years, you better start now, if you haven't already begun. And I would actually like, because I think maybe some of you already have some great ideas you could share with your colleagues. So please put those in the comments below. Maybe even I could get some good inspiration from you. So please share some of your best prompts or maybe some of your best learnings from using AI yourself. And maybe also share where you find that it actually adds value and where it doesn't, so that we could maybe help each other improve our skills in the coming months. So I really hope that this have inspired you at least to get started, and maybe even start to play with it a little more and have some fun, because I think that's actually how I think about it.